Welcome back. As youth continue to organize and mobilize for Black lives, filmmakers have taken to protest to authentically capture the voices and faces of local movements. Joining us to discuss his peaceful protest documentary is filmmaker Jamar Alphonso Da Costa, aka NESS, the creator. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So just to start, can you tell us about yourself and your upbringing here in the Bronx, and how long have you been a filmmaker?
Okay, so yeah, I'm from the South Bronx, Castle Hill area, and I'm like I just like to make things. I like to tell stories. Most definitely from my perspective, since I feel like that's the most purest form. That's the most like if I would like I feel like we gotta cater to our perspectives since that's the most unique color in the world. One of the most unique colors in the world, our color. Um, I'm from. I've been a filmmaker since I went to the cinema school. It's the only film high school in the country, I believe, where they have film as the curriculum, and I've just been creating since then. My passion grew and grew through like the courses Mr. Stevel gave us, and like the short films we had to create. That was part of the curriculum. And then I joined Ghetto Film School, like my junior year, and it was basically what we done in TCS, but even more specific, just like extra film class, just creating films, telling stories, and I graduated that. I did it one more time, and then I then I continued from that, and I sort of found my passion with mixing film and music with my band called Studio Period. I just like to capture live performances, singing, but try to tell a story through it. But also at the end of the day, I'm still a filmmaker. I still like to tell stories. So when a whole movement so powerful is going on, I'm seeing this. We're all locked up in quarantine, and I'm seeing this. I'm like, okay, I have to go out and capture this story, just get whatever I need to get and put it together and tell my perspective of what I see.
Yeah, that was my next question. So please tell us about your peaceful protest documentary and what you feel is your role as a filmmaker during these tough times.
The peaceful protest documentary, I mean, we all saw it. They were screaming out their names, those whose past names throughout the streets of New York. We all saw it. In the peaceful protest documentary, I really wanted to document it from the interior, since a lot of what we see on the media is a lot of exterior stuff. You don't really see people following. And if you can do that, it's very, I feel like it's not showing the full thing. It's not focusing on what's really going on. Like I, from being inside the protest and like recognizing it, the first thing I noticed is like, yo, all of us is like 18 and around. It's like 18 around. Like you look back in history of like movements like the Million Man March back in DC, right? And it's just like you look at the pictures and I'm like, that's like older people just like in their like late 20s, yada yada. Like definitely there's some probably 18-year-olds, but it's just like it's a lot of older people. But here the majority was people like college and younger coming out to like contribute to the same energy. And what I saw was the leadership, the organization, and like the dedication. It's like, and at the same, like I have to remind them, like, yo, we're 18, like, and adults is looking at us, like it's like the kids leading the adults in this, and that was the most beautiful thing I ever seen, like to see how much power we have, because the protests really showed, and like a couple of scenes that I put in our piece of protest showed how much like we shut down blocks and blocks and blocks, like it's insane how far the march led, and like we outnumbered the opposing, but we kept it. I feel like the majority kept it peaceful. But what I also want to show in the bring to light in the documentary, that yes, you gotta understand, there are some people that came here for good. There's some people that came here to fight for what's right, but a small percent came for the BS. Came for The small percent came for the foolishness. Came for the come up. Came for the opportunity for destruction. And I just wanted to like, it's the beauty of show rather than telling. I want to show it rather than say, here's my opinion, since who knows how fed up some of those people were. Maybe they wanted to cause destruction because they like something happened with them and they had to get the anger out. I don't know, but I'm showing it. I'm showing the reality. The majority of people protested, didn't do nothing. Like you saw how it's not as chaotic as some may seem or make it. It's not as rebellious. It's not as punk. But we did. But at the same time, we showed, we did shut down the streets. We did shut down the streets by the thousands.
Right. And, you know, the theme that I did notice is that you filmed a lot of youth during these protests and during these movements, not only doing protesting, but also educating and doing community cleanups. So what is the importance of having Black and brown youth at the forefront of some of these movements? What's the importance of that?
It's to show that the importance of that is to show like, hey, we are doing something. Like, yo, we care. It's like we're not just gonna let stuff. We're not just gonna let this foolishness, this hate just happen to us. We show, yo, we're doing something about it peacefully. We're doing something. It's showing that we know how to handle situations, and we can patch ourselves up back together. You feel me? It show like we're able to do it. It show movement. It's show like change. We're making the change from inside. We're not having people do it. We don't need people to do it for us. We're doing it for us. You feel me? And the person that did that, her name is really real. She's from Brooklyn, and I followed her to help her. Just to help her like clean up and also document it to share it to the world, you know. And she continued to do that cleanup and community events, community what was the word? Not events, community
Initiatives.
Yeah, and she helped put community initiatives together to help bring it back. So you see, like it matters. We're not just gonna bat our eye. We're not just gonna let things happen. We're showing that we care, even if it's people that look like us that cause some of the destruction. It showed that we care. It showed that there's people peacefully patching us back together, peacefully.
I think you did a wonderful job at showing that in your film. So thank you for that. I also wanted to ask you how many actions you attended throughout the film, because I noticed that there were different events, different protests that you filmed.
I feel like I went to around 4 or 5. But some people went every single day.
Yeah.
I'm not some people, you know, I'm not some people. Because it's like, it's really like, it gets shady out there. It gets shady out there. And like, it gets really tiring walking miles, like throughout, like I remember the first day where we crossed the Brooklyn Bridge. That was my first day going. I was with my brother. It's like, I like the power, bro. Like we started from 125th all the way till, no, actually they started from 125th and I caught them at 86. And we went all the way to Bowling Green, I think it's called.
Yeah.
To Bowling Green. And it was a standoff. It was a standoff at the Brooklyn Bridge. It was a standoff. They didn't think they was gonna cross. First there was cops just standing there. They were standing there like they were covering the walking part. They were covering the walking part, thinking we're gonna do that. And we're just like, yo, who's gonna make the first step? They got batons and stuff. I'm like, they got batons and stuff. And we just like had a consensus, yo, we're going through the one that's the cars where the cars are coming to us. We're going the other way. We're gonna do that. And we just did that, and the cops was like, oh my gosh, these kids. I'm like, they couldn't say something, but I'm just like, I know some of them were proud. You feel me? Like, I know they can't, but I know they're proud. And like, we stopped traffic. We stopped the Brooklyn Bridge. That's when it clicked. Like, yo, this is power. This is insane. And as we're going past the Brooklyn Bridge, cars are stopped. Like, so it's like we're going in between cars and such. And I feel like on social media, on Twitter, you hear people saying, oh my gosh, these kids are rebellious. People have work, this, that, and the third, thinking, oh, they're thinking we're the bad guys. But in reality, I wish I caught this. As we were going past, all we heard was beep, beep, beep.
clapping and applauding. Yeah, like solidarity
only,
in the community.
only, simple, only. That's all we heard, and that's why I showed it. So people don't think, oh, it's ignorance. So no, people think, oh, we're stopping trying, we're causing a disruption. No, all we got was all we got. All we got. We had helicopters over us, like we had 5-star on GTA, like helicopters everywhere, and it was like, yo, this is so insane. But it's just like you knew you were safe because there was 1,000 other people next to you doing the same thing. I feel like we really felt what power is. Power isn't like it's one of the most simple forms of power is just two, then switch it to 4, then switch it to 6. It's just people. It's just like togetherness. That's power. That's all you need. We seen the amount of power. We seen the power of the black dollar when freaking Popeyes went viral. That's the power of the black dollar. Now imagine we put that. Imagine we just put that energy into like our communities, and we would have a whole community center that's open from like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Have somewhere people to go, since people don't really have much to do this generation. That's the only problem with this. People don't really have much to do. And like you saw when the protests came out, you saw people coming out of quarantine for the first time in months, having something to do, using that energy, and they're saying, yo, haven't been out, bro. This is the only thing, the first time they've been out. It was just so powerful. It brought a tear to my eye, honestly.
Yes, before we go, what do you hope that people can take away from your documentary?
I hope they could take away the reality, just reality. And I hope they could take away inspiration. Like the leaders, like look at how young those leaders were. I just want to show the leadership, how they were preaching like how Malcolm X preached back then. And you gotta understand, he got killed for talking like that. You feel me? He got killed for talking like that. And we seen these young women, these young men doing the same exact thing. And like, if I feel like if I were to have like my mom like see that and like have someone that lived through that age look at this, it's like they'll be like, yo, back then you could not do that. Like that's like dangerous. And I want them to see like what happens when you. I want them to see what happens when you realize there's nothing to be afraid of.
Thank you for that. And where can people follow your work and see the film again?
People can see the film on YouTube. Just type in Peaceful Protest NYC. My YouTube account is NESS, just like capital NESS with a period. And yeah, how you will see my work, you will know my style and you will know my attitude. That's my goal. You will know who it is already.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing more about your documentary.
Thank you.
Again, folks, you can follow Ness on Instagram at Ness the Creator, and you can see his film on YouTube by typing in Peaceful Protest NYC under the account Ness. Check out this trailer of the film, and we'll be right back.
We're not going nowhere at no 8 o'clock. All you got was 8,000. You said 8, we said 8,000. You heard?
You don't get to take away my space because of the color of my skin. I'm taking my space back. This is a reclamation of me. You will not stop me. You will not stop us.
They tried this 2015, and that's the joke. Take my Pepsi now. Let's make some peace. Take my